Hi, I just want to start this video off by saying sorry if I sound like a robot. This one has the layout of this video is more similar to my Mahiru one than my more recent ones. I don't know if I like this formula or not, so sorry. Also, I'm sorry that this video is late. Like I said, other stuff came up. So, anyways, let's get on to my Miu Iruma analysis video. Part 1, her name and meaning. Miu's first name can be read as Beautiful Rabbit, and her last name can be loosely translated to Entering Space, or it could possibly refer to the name of a city in the Saitama Prefecture. I also just want to add this in right here. The in one of Miu's promotional things, the kanji for her name was messed up, and it meant not rabbit-like instead of what it actually means. So that obviously isn't anything important. It's just like a little tidbit. Part 2, Before the Killing Game. Before the Killing Game, Miu was a talentless girl who decided to participate in the 53rd season of a famous reality show called Danganronpa. Based on what we see, her pre-game memories are fake, but her personality of kind of being loud and out there and a little bit rude is most likely the same, and I might make a video on why I think the V3 characters' personalities are the same. During her school days, Miu attended Shimei Industries High School, but we don't know if this was a false memory implanted by Samugi, or if it was something that genuinely happened to Miu. It wasn't really said, so. Part 3, During the Killing Game. I just want to say this is the longest section here. I skip over the class trials and Miu's trial just because that one's very Miu-oriented. Miu was one of the first 14 people gathered in the gym before Shuichi and Kaede arrived. Just like everybody else, Miu was confused on what was happening. The Mono Cubs then arrive and give them their new clothes and their first memory to quote-unquote make the students more suitable for the killing game. Miu is later found by Kaede and Shuichi in the storage room looking for drugs. She is rude to them at first, and when Shuichi calls her out, she says that only perverts wear hats. She also says a pretty good line of, "Oh, my eyes just happened to look there. Oh, my hand just happened to grope her." Anyways, after Miu introduces herself, Kaede realizes that she made eye drop contacts, but Miu brushes that off, saying that the invention wasn't successful, so she sold it off, as she only likes inventions that help you in your sleep, because humans spend a lot of time sleeping. Miu would later gather in the gym with everybody else when Monokuma introduces himself as their headmaster and hands out the monopads. After Monokuma started the killing game, Miu and the others read the rules on their monopads. A majority of the group began to panic and start to argue because of said rules. Thanks to Kaede's motivational speech, the panic died down and everybody seemed to be united. Gonta then mysteriously remembers that he found a manhole inside of the boiler room. Miu with everybody else follows Gonta's lead, hoping to find a way out. And I just want to say, since there are technically two routes here, one where the killing game doesn't happen and one where the killing game does happen, I'm not going to go into what happens in whatever that was called. After the first motive is introduced, Miu, like everybody else, becomes very concerned. Obviously, they're in a murder game. Although when she asks if they just need to kill somebody to escape, she becomes mad and suspicious at the rest of the group and goes to her research lab. On the day before the time limit was up, Kaede and Shuichi beg Miu to make them cameras to help catch the mastermind. She obviously doesn't know that it was to catch the mastermind at the time. Miu at first refused, but became embarrassed when Shuichi and Kaede bowed to her, not backing down until she agreed to make the cameras. Eventually, she agreed and became even more embarrassed when Kaede shook her hand. She then went back to her lab to wait for the other two to bring her supplies for said cameras. She then claims that Shuichi and Kaede bowing to her awakened something inside of her. Masochist. Yeah, wait, no. Sadist, not a masochist. Is she a masochist, though? Does she like being insulted? Why do I feel like Miu's a little bit of the both? Honestly, good for her. She's a masochist and a sadist. On the final day of the time limit, Shuichi picked up the cameras from Miu, who had pulled an all-nighter to make them, which, honestly, go girl. She also informed Shuichi about some of the drawbacks of the cameras, like the 30-second interval thing. Obviously, Kaede doesn't know about that. On that same evening, with the time limit nearing its end, Miu decided to stay back in the dining hall with Krekio, Kirumi, and Samugi. She personally stayed behind to modify an RC plane that she had picked up from the warehouse because she was bored after she made the cameras for Kaede and Shuichi. After the body discovery announcement went off, Miu, Krekio, Kirumi, and Samugi rushed down to the library, being some of the last people to find Rantaro dead. When Miu saw his body, she disrespected him by calling him a quote-unquote pile of dirty rags. When Kaede and Shuichi revealed the plan to catch the mastermind, Miu seemed annoyed that they decided to use her invention for something like that. During the investigation, Miu decided to use her drone to capture the entire room just so she wouldn't actually have to investigate, but this ends up being very vital as she finds out the mechanism that quote-unquote Kaede used to kill Rantaro. The day after the trial, Miu and everybody else would gather in the cafeteria with a normal but forced conversation to make themselves forget about what had just happened. Afterwards, the Mondo Cubs showed up and handed out 4 random items that the students could use to unlock more areas within the academy. Some of the areas that became unlocked were the second and third floors of the academy, with Ryoma's lab being unlocked on the 3rd floor. Upon discovering Ryoma's lab, Miu took an interest in the lab, seemingly becoming aroused by the quote-unquote big metal arm that was holding and swinging the tennis rackets. Miu then jokingly told Ryoma and Shuichi that they should shower together in the shower room at the back of the lab, saying that Ryoma would be the perfect type for when he turned around to face Shuichi. This caused Ryoma to get mad and stare at Miu, seemingly getting flashbacks from his time in prison. Angie eventually tells Miu and the others to meet in the gym, seemingly failing in discovering anything about the mysterious flashlight that Angie and Shuichi had found, so they don't really... I should mention that, Angie didn't find anything about the flashlight, not Miu. After everybody had gathered, Monokuma appears and explains that the mysterious flashlights are actually called flashback lights, and they return, memories. He then leaves and lets the students decide what they want to do with the flashback light. Although at first everybody was kind of skeptical and didn't want to use it, they eventually all gave in and used it, with everybody remembering that they were on the run from the quote-unquote ultimate hunt. During the same night, the Mondo Cubs prepare the second motive, distributing the videos at random while the students slept. The next morning, when they all gathered in the cafeteria, they discussed what to do with the videos, with Ryoma suggesting to give everyone their intended video, but that was shut down as it could possibly lead to another murder. Miu seemingly went along with everybody else's decision, not really caring if they all got their videos or not. The next day, unknown to Miu, Gonta had thought that everybody hated bugs thanks to Kokichi's lies and began to kidnap students for his insect meet and greet. In reality, Kokichi was using Gonta so everybody would watch the motive videos. Miu would be one of the few students that Gonta is unable to get to attend his meet and greet. She did this by stripping down to her underwear so Gonta was too scared to touch her. Also unknown to Miu, Kokichi spotted her wandering around the courtyard in her underwear when he was planning the insect meet and greet. Although absurd, what Miu did that night did manage to land her an alibi and clear her of committing the next murder. The next day when the murder occurred, Miu was one of the few students who decided not to attend Himiko Yumeno's magic show. Although when she does arrive with Kaito and Kokichi, she disrespects the victim yet again, saying that he was food today and shit tomorrow. The morning after that trial, at Kokichi's request, after unveiling Maki's true talent the night prior, Miu, along with everybody else barring Maki, paid a visit to her research lab, only to discover that various weapons all throughout the lab, proving that Maki was in fact the ultimate assassin, not a child caregiver. Miu assumed that she tried to hide her true talent from everyone in order to kill somebody while everyone else was unaware, just as assassins tend to do. Though Kaito reassured everyone and said that he would take care of Maki. Afterwards, the Mondo Cubs showed up and passed out more items for the students to unlock new areas within the academy. While everybody else was out looking for new areas to the academy, Miu pulled Kibo aside to perform maintenance on him in a research lab, which, yes, it's not maintenance, it is maintenance, not sexual assault, as Kibo gave consent and didn't mind. Also, it literally was maintenance. So later on, everybody would gather in the dining hall in order to inspect the flashback light. This time, everybody remembers attending their own funeral. Much to everybody's confusion, they're like, hey, well, how do we fucking attend our own funerals? Kaito then reassures everybody that the memory was probably, not real since everybody was there and alive. His small speech seemed to work as everybody then begins to eat. Then they all return to their dorm rooms. The next morning, everybody gathered in the gym at the Mondo Cubs' request, who presented the Necronomicon as the third motive, where the students could revive one of the 4 dead people. But Miu wrote that off as unscientific nonsense and didn't really care about it. Miu also really doesn't care about Angie's student council and is more interested in the computer room on the 4th floor, where she begins her plan to murder Kokichi. After the class trial, everybody would gather in the dining hall again. The group became sad at how many people they had lost due to the killing game. Monokuma, along with the Mondo Cubs, show up and hand out more keys to inspect the rest of the school, along with a key card presented by Monofini, which was the next motive, but it was soon stolen by the little brat, Kokichi. One of the new areas unlocked is Kibo's lab, to which he didn't really like, but Miu really loved his lab, which I honestly kind of find funny. Everybody then gathers in the dining hall and receives another flashback light. This time, everybody remembers the meteorites that impacted the Earth and the cult that was against the Gopher Project. Miu could only laugh sarcastically and say that being trapped here with everybody was the worst hell there was. She had finally grown tired of the situation, panicking and shouting to let everybody out of the academy. Unfortunately, after that, she dies. Anyway, some fun facts. Miu is one of the only characters in all of Danganronpa to correctly guess the killers correct before they were revealed as the killer. Miu is one of 2 people who is only on the opposite side in the debate scrum. Although after her death, her portrait is on either side. Ryoma is always on the opposing side, I'm pretty sure, even in death. So Miu is one of, if not the only character who had to have a sprite removed due to ethical reasons. And finally, in Chapter 3, during Korekiyo's second rebuttal showdown, Miu makes a small remark about his sister. This makes her the only character who speaks in a rebuttal showdown without actively participating in it. So yeah, anyways, this video is 10 minutes long. My Mondo video will be up in my Mondo video will be up in either 2 to like 4 days ish, I'm gonna say. Anyways, bye. I hope you have a good day, morning, evening. I almost said lunch. Yeah, lunch too, supper. Bye.